A few days ago, Hamas murdered 6 Israeli hostages. They kidnapped them on the 7th of October. Remember? On 7th of October. Actually, I'm not even sure if you can remember, because now the world wants us to focus on beauty of Hamas, then forget victim of Hamas. Let me remind you what happened on the 7th of October. After long planning, Hamas entered the land of Israel illegally, murdered, kidnapped, raped, and burned Israelis. In one day, they murdered over 1,200 human beings. That wasn't enough. They stolen 251 human beings. They kidnapped 251 human beings. Just a few days ago, Hamas murdered 6 of Israeli hostages, and that comes to us after few days after Israel allows vaccines to enter Gaza, so the kids in Gaza gets vaccinated, and Hamas thanks to Israel by murdering 6 Israelis in Rafah. After 330 days, keeping people against their will and torturing them, now they've been murdered. That is just evil. Hamas has one purpose alone, and their purpose is persecute and slaughter Jewish people. That's their only purpose. That's why 7th October happened. That's why they are still holding hostages. And seems in 21st century, people are quite okay for Hamas to take hostages. People are quite okay for Hamas to kidnap Israelis. When the posters of kidnapped Israelis were put on the walls, pro-Hamas supporters took those posters down, and people were okay with it. When pro-Hamas supporters put poo on the posters of kidnapped Israelis, people were okay with it. Even police was okay with it. Police simply went and tear down pictures of Israeli hostages. When the pro-Hamas supporters took on the streets and then screamed "Free Palestine," government was okay with it. So, 21st century in Britain, people are quite okay for Israeli people to be murdered. People are quite okay for Israeli people to be kidnapped. People are simply justifying what Hamas is doing. Hamas is doing this under the getting rid of the Jewish people, slaughtering them. People in Britain is calling this in the name of resistance. No, raping is not for freedom. Murdering is not for freedom. Kidnapping is not for freedom. That is terrorism. And Hamas is a terrorist organization. These 6 Israeli hostages, 4 men, 2 women, they were murdered in Rafah just a few months ago. Nearly 50 million people on social media, including celebrities, put on social media all eyes on Rafah when Israel wanted to get into the Rafah, knowing that Hamas is operating there. And now today we know those 6 hostages were in Rafah. When these 50 million people said all eyes on Rafah, and they didn't want Israel to enter Rafah, they were simply supporting and encouraging Hamas terrorist organization for what they are doing. These 50 million people, plus the ones who tear down the posters, the ones who put the poos in the posters, all of them made themselves defender of Hamas. All of you made yourself defender of Hamas, defender of terrorist organization. And thanks to you, 6 people were murdered. These 6 people are human beings like you and me. They've got their favorite colors. They've got family. They've got loved ones. They enjoy life. But their crime was identified as being Jewish. Therefore, they were murdered. And you contribute to that. You contribute to that. Useful idiots, because of you, because of your contribution, because your sympathism for Hamas, murder them. Yeah, their blood is in your hand. You are not much different from Hamas. It's not only that. After British government is provided council house for the Hamas spokesperson, Now, British government decided only few days after Hamas murdered 6 Israeli hostages, British government decided to suspend some arm exports to Israel. British government now officially become side with Hamas terrorists. British government is now with the side with the kidnappers, rapists and murderers. Since you don't think life of Jews are worth to fight for, remember when they come after you, people are going to say, yes, their life is not worth to fight for. From my perspective, every human life is worth to fight. People are made in God's image. They are loved and valued by God. Their lives is worthy to fight for. The moment when you say the life of Jews are not important, they shouldn't be exist, they all deserve to die, you are in the side of kidnappers. You are in the side of criminals. And that is not right side to be. Hamas will come after you because Hamas evil. But the ones who still think that the life of human beings, especially in this occasion, the life of Jews are worth fighting for, then all I can say to you is, remember, Hamas is pure evil. Simply it practices Islam, and for the sake of humanity and sake of our children, Hamas and its supporters needs to be finished once for all.